What's poppin', people? It's Dante, currently walking in an open space here in Fairmount Park. This is where I thrive. And so, yeah, today I just wanted to discuss why film photography is holding you back from improvement and why this matters. So, film photography, in my opinion, is an antiquated process in a modern world. And when we use old systems in modern settings, the results are going to hinder you. Where the photographs that we make on the street must be done with speed. You must have a fast reaction time. And frankly, using a film camera, setting the focus manually, making sure your shutter and your aperture are correct, aligned with your ASA or your ISO and the stock of film you're using, it's honestly so antiquated when you consider the speed of a digital camera and the way that you can set it into an automatic mode and simply point and shoot. And now this system, whether film or digital, shouldn't matter in terms of actually becoming the better photographer, right? I think you can become a great street photographer with a film camera, but when it comes to the improvement of a photographer, it makes most sense to go digital. When it comes to a hobbyist who's enjoying the process, maybe they love the darkroom, they enjoy scanning and developing the film, well then, c'est la vie, have yours. I'm talking to those photographers that actually want to seek improvement and make better pictures. And if you want to make better pictures, you're going to need to use better equipment. And the sad truth is, when it comes to street photography, the greatest film camera is the Leica, right? So we have a Leica rangefinder system in a modern world, which to me becomes a burden. It becomes cumbersome. It becomes slow. Think of the way in which you hold the camera physically, right? There's this brick that's hanging on your neck, and this brick that's hanging on your neck has weight to it, right? There's this requirement for you to carry this camera physically through the world, whereas my Ricoh, it fits on my front right pocket, it fits on my wrist. You know, there's something about the compact size, the lightweight nature of this device, and the way that I can photograph with speed using automatic settings that really make the workflow geared towards improvement. And I believe that with film photography, the limitations are enticing. You have 36 exposures, you must work manually. There's something about the limitations that seem good on paper, where if you're being more discerning with the frames that you're taking, if you're making sure that the moment is right and you click the shutter at the decisive moment because you're shooting film, you know, that can sound good on paper. But when it comes to daily practice, having a camera where you have no limitations will allow for improvement, because you can now make more photographs. And I believe that when you make more photographs and you're not limited to 36 exposures, the more you make, the more you will see the results that you're looking for. And I think that through this newfound process of adopting a digital workflow, you will improve your photography. I believe it because it allows for speed, it allows for a quick response time when you're on the streets, reacting quickly on your toes. It'll allow you to go home and to review your photographs and understand what you did wrong in that moment. It'll also allow you to experiment more with a compact digital camera, where the Ricoh GR, the system that I'm currently using, it's the new Leica. Right? You think of the Leica, this film camera, this holy grail for street photography, but if William Klein were to be photographing today, I'm almost 100% certain that he would choose a Ricoh. You know, if Henri Cartier-Bresson was around today, he would choose a Ricoh, right? He wouldn't be photographing using one of these old school, antiquated, slow systems. And that's what a Leica is. That's what film photography is in the current year as it stands. And so when you want to improve, you must consider the tool. You must consider the mode of operation, because it'll actually allow you to play more, to experiment more, to tinker more. And the more that you hold yourself back to a set limitation, the more you're going to limit that amount that you can improve. You know, there really is something correlated here with the limitations that film sets and the limitations it will have on your photography. I believe that when you limit yourself, you limit yourself. But using a digital camera, it's quite limitless, for you can now photograph endlessly throughout the day. You can throw it in your pocket. You can go on with your life. You're not being lugged down by a camera dangling on your neck. You can have this quick reaction time with automatic settings. You can come home and review the photographs. You no longer have to rely on manually focusing your camera. You no longer have to wait for the film to come back from development for you to scan it and to strike a print in the darkroom. And you know, the problem is that we don't even actually go out there and develop our own film. Most of the photographers that shoot film actually drop it off and they get it developed, and then you get it scanned, and then what do you do with it? You publish it to Instagram. So it doesn't make sense to me in a modern world where you're making photographs in an antiquated way, but presenting them in this very modern digital form. And so when it comes to making photographs with the intention of improving, it makes absolute most logical sense to go the digital route. You know, when I first started, I learned on film. At that time, film costed maybe $4 a pop. I could go into a Rite Aid and pick up a couple rolls of film, throw it in my uncle's Leica M3, and go out there and practice on the streets. At that time, it actually made sense because I had a much more, there was just more accessibility to the film itself, right? It was cheaper, it was more affordable. I could actually go through some rolls of film. The cost involved with shooting film every year, it actually makes no sense. If you consider the cost alone, for a couple $100 you could get a great digital camera, or for $1,000 you can go out and purchase the newest and latest Ricoh GR camera. You know, it makes more sense to invest in the best. It doesn't make sense to invest in these antiquated systems that's going to burn a hole in your pocket. You know, when it comes to photography in the modern world, I actually believe in this radical idea of detaching from the physical print, of detaching from the physical outcome of the print on a photo. And so this is something that maybe is different. This is something that maybe people don't consider as much, but I'm not too interested in the print. You know, I see a future that's completely digital while I'm using a digital tool. And I think this way because it allows me to free my mind of all of the constraints that the four corners of a print gives me. It helps me because I don't have to worry about buying paper and ink and all of these superfluous things that will also burn a hole in my pocket. But with digital, you can photograph endlessly for essentially no cost. The only cost you're going to have to put out there is the cost for the camera. And the second you go Ricoh, you're never going to go back because you realize that you have the best. Leica is no longer at the forefront of street photography. Leica is a dying brand. Leica is a luxury brand. Leica is the modern day Rolex. Leica is not a camera for photographers that actually go out there and photograph. A Leica camera is a camera for those that like to pretend to be photographers. Film photography has become a trend in this modern world because we have social media, we have Instagram, we have YouTubers and these fake influencers that promote these sort of like trends and aesthetics. These distractions are nothing but that. They're distractions and they're limitations and they're holding you back. And I'm just so happy and eager to come on here and to speak my mind freely because I think one person maybe will hear this and maybe will reconsider, why the hell am I even shooting with this camera in the first place? Why the fuck am I going to a darkroom? What am I doing scanning film? What is the goal of my photography? Why am I photographing? And if the camera and the tool and the process of you shooting this film old school system is the reason why you're doing it, well then just stay a hobbyist, right? Just enjoy the quick or enjoy the feeling and the process and blah 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 that's associated with it. But if you're looking to actually make better photographs, well then obviously you're going to use the better tool. And that's all I'm going to say. You can stay in the hobbyist department or you can go to the big leagues. If you want to go to the big leagues, you're going to have to get a smaller camera. You're going to have to get something that's a little bit more lightweight. You're going to have to get something a little bit more fast. You're going to have to get a Ricoh GR digital camera. And this is the message of the day from the Ricoh jihadist here in his symposium in the trees, just coming out here to troll and be a bit of a nuisance because I'm sick and tired of all of the trends, all of the modern ways that we think about photography. They're all antiquated. The print, the gallery, everything isn't worth it. The film in your pocket, it's burning a hole in your pocket. You could do much more with that money if you consider capital, wealth, etc. You know, might as well invest the money. Stop buying film, you know, it's like stop buying paper, stop buying ink, stop buying all these old things from old times. Let's go to the new times. Here in the modern world. Use the better stuff. Use the faster stuff. Did I make any good points? Maybe, maybe not. Did I ruffle some feathers? Hopefully I did. That's all I gotta say. Oh, and digital photographers don't wear beanies or flannels. We wear sun hats. No trucker hats. Yeah, no trucker hats, no beanies. No. If the film photography trend I'm setting, it's the sun hat, baby. Because we actually go out and use our cameras. We don't just let them collect dust on shelves and look cool on our necks.